Welcome all to the 96th day of High Performance Entrepreneurship Series. The session is brought to you by Chumawak, a community which aims to impact 100 million entrepreneurs around the world. And as we always tell, dream big, aim high, start small. Start very small so that you can easily focus on what you're doing. Start very small so that you can easily build a discipline around what you're doing. Start very small so that you can easily master what you're doing. Once you do these three things, you're ready to be a scalable startup and your journey as a high performance entrepreneur starts. For this, we are doing three daily habit building sessions at 5 a.m. at three time zones: UA time zone, Indian time zone, and Eastern Standard Time. It is being headed by our habit coach Fanaki Handria, and the US is being co hosted by Beatrice James. So, today it's a very important topic as we are reaching the end of High Performance Entrepreneurship series. We are on the 96th day, and this is one of the topics which all entrepreneurs, all people who want to start a business, who wants to start a startup, needs to know before they start their journey. And I have my two very great friends. We have been like when Farm Team was there, we have been met in a few of the competitions or a few of the arenas in UAE and abroad. And I still think in the Arab startup competition that was where uh, me and Farak and Saeed met for the first time. So to take this meeting forward, I have two strong women, Fatima Nazrin and Fanaki Handria, who are going to moderate this session. So the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Kabir, and warm welcome everyone to this session where we will be discussing about resilience in startup. Well, the journey of an entrepreneur or a startup is not easy. That's why we need resilience. And it's a very good topic actually, because more and more people just want to join this journey to start as a startup. So I am so happy and honored to be with you today. And we have an amazing speakers. The first one is Ferak. She is an experienced professional and serial entrepreneur with 25 years experience in media, business, journalism, and education. This includes leading governmental and private sector projects, and she delivers strategic visions as well as spearheading initiative to achieve educational objectives. She is currently making a difference in Arabic language education in the UAE and beyond. What makes her amazing is she believes in helping people. That's really amazing. And she works closely with local and international non-governmental organizations and charities. And not only that, but she is actively involved in fundraising and delivering aid. It's very good. And she has been recognized by several organizations for her charity work and has received awards as an individual and for group charity project. I think, ladies and gentlemen, that need a really applaud, because that's an amazing person right here. And not only that, she is a passionate leader and team player with strong interpersonal skills and the ability to liaise and connect with people from different cultures and backgrounds. Just earlier, she knew how to talk with me, so yes, it's all good. And as a mother of four, Ferak is a fun, grounded serial entrepreneur who loves connecting with people from different cultures and backgrounds, as well as reading, writing, theater, and playing netball. Wow, amazing. So I can't wait to hear from her. We have an amazing person right here. Ferak, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much for that kind introduction. I'm honored and happy to be here. I'll just head straight into it. Resilience, and why do we need it? Resilience is the ability to recover from difficult situations and to keep going despite setbacks. Now, why is this important? This is a life skill and it's critical for children, adults, everybody. But in startup founders, it's really important because it enables you to persevere in the face of adversity. So when things happen that you don't expect, you need to be able to move beyond them or seek an alternative. I know that we've all faced challenges. I know COVID was the biggest one on the global stage for the world. And the way that people adapt and came back from that, when the way the children and adults and startups were particularly affected, especially if you just launched a business at that time. Now, there are a few things that you can do and understand the importance of resilience. You can develop a few things that you can do that will help you in dealing with challenges along the way. As an entrepreneur, you can develop a growth mindset. This means that when you look at a challenge, don't see it as a block. See it as something to either go around, go over, not just bang, bang, bang through. Because when you try and bang, bang through, you just get demotivated. It will impact your mental, physical, and emotional health, which is also, there is physical resilience, mental resilience, emotional resilience, and social resilience. So everybody has a balance. Everybody needs all different aspects of them to be meeting together and in balance. Now, it's easy to get bogged down and feel overwhelmed when you face a problem. Now, you need to have the belief in your own skills and abilities that they can be developed through hard work, perseverance, and a willingness to learn. This is a contrast to a fixed mindset. So you need it as a startup, and even in life, you need a growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset. Now, the fixed mindset is the belief that skills and abilities are largely innate and they can't be changed. But if you adapt the growth mindset, you can approach a challenge with a more positive and proactive attitude. And so you embrace continually learning, continually looking for alternatives, and being open to feedback, looking for new information and skills, and being willing to take risks and make mistakes. And the ability to take risks and make mistakes takes me on to my next point, which is learning from failure and bouncing back stronger. Now, when you make a mistake, and we've done this, let me give you an example. We did a test on our app when we were doing the testing for the payment link. Now, we didn't realize the payment link was live. And what happened is when we tested it, the customers that were charged again. And it was quite challenging. We had to refund the money. We had to work out. And obviously, you have customers that are really unhappy. They've been charged twice. They want to know how you've managed to charge them twice, etc. So you've got the customer relationship to manage, the credibility, your reputation as a company. So there's so many different aspects. So instead of thinking, oh my God, this is a big catastrophe, we thought, right, let's look on the positive. At least it was only a small number. Okay, it took us 2 weeks to fix it, but it was a small number. Imagine if it had been a bigger number. How would we have dealt with dealing with that? It would have taken much longer, had a bigger impact. So by learning from the things that you do wrong and building in, so we then fixed the problem and built in safeguards so this won't happen again. So that made us much better within the structure of the company and the process. Is that clear? Any questions? Anything? Any feedback? Any ideas, Fanaki?
Thank you so much, Rak. Yes, it's a very good start about resilience and why do we need a growth mindset. For now, we don't have questions, but if we have.
Okay, right. So the next point I would go is seeking mentorship and building a support network. Being an entrepreneur can be a lonely journey, especially if you're a single founder and you are the only one within the company. I'm really blessed in that I have 3 other founders with us and we're 4 of us. So we support each other because you get sick. you get demotivated, you face a hurdle. Building that network and support network, and if you're a sole founder or not a sole founder, you still need that network both within the company and outside the company. Because sometimes within the company, you're so stuck in what you're doing and the emotions and the feeling that you can't see beyond it. So you need to move outside. A really good thing for this is mentorship. So somebody who is experienced in your industry or field, who can offer you guidance, advice, support as you build your business. They will also help you navigate the challenges of starting and growing a business. They can also provide valuable insights and connections that you might not think of or have access to otherwise. Because remember, the reason they're a mentor is because they've already done it or got the experience. In addition to mentorship, building a support network. I've got my family, my brothers and my sisters, my brother, my close friends. And then also within the community outside of the founders, we have other entrepreneurs. And learning from and meeting other entrepreneurs is really helpful as well, because they might have experienced the same thing that you have, or something similar on a slightly different, and by learning from them and being open to feedback and opening, which also relates to the growth mindset, it will also help you to grow both as a person, as an entrepreneur. It will help you to build your mental and emotional resilience, and also fulfill your social resilience, because being within a social community is really important, because by nature, people are human and social beings. The next one is managing stress and avoiding burnout. Starting and growing a startup is a rewarding experience, but it can also be incredibly stressful. You've got multiple priorities. Myself, and I have 4 children. I have the family. I have the job. I also have the logistics, and I know that's the same from my other founders. We all have other things to do outside. So you can do stress management techniques like exercise, meditation, and just making sure that you do something different outside so that you recharge. And this is really, really important, because one of the mistakes that I made early on when we started Araby was I spent so much time working. My kids, when they were much younger, used to come and say, "Mom, you're always working. Can you just come and spend this time with us?" And I used to say, "Look, I've just got to finish this. I've just got to finish this." By the time I finished, it was way past their bedtime and they'd already gone to bed. And now I look at them and they're older, they're teenagers. And I realize if I had the time again, I wouldn't do it. I would make more of a work-life balance. And that's also really part of managing your stress is time management, because you've got many demands. So you also delegating tasks if you have somebody to delegate to. Just putting off and prioritizing, making lists. The founder of the company, Lenka, was amazing because she taught me to switch off. In the beginning, I used to message her at weekends and stuff, and she would be like, "Farak, switch off. Don't message, switch off. Don't work at weekends, or at least one day of the weekend." Because it's really important also to step back. Because if you're constantly doing the same thing, it's like you're on a treadmill, moving. And unless you get off it and look, you'll never be able to see how far you've come, and then to look where you need to go. And you'll burn out. Staying adaptable and open to change. It's exciting starting a business. It's a dynamic experience, but it's also unpredictable. One of the keys to building resilience as an entrepreneur is staying adaptable and open to change. Things change rapidly. EdTech, for example, COVID accelerated the adoption of online education. Thing that would have taken 15, 20 years without COVID. Literally. And being able to pivot to a new product or a service. So being adaptable means you're willing to take risks, try new things, and you're willing to experiment in order to reach a goal, or to actually strategize and actually fulfill a goal and define a goal. The best thing I would say to anybody is being open to feedback, because when you listen to your customers and you give them what they want, they will come back to you and they will stay with you. And that has been a key part of our strategy as a customer-focused company in order to build the company. We have 89% retention. So people, when they join us, the schools join us, they also don't leave us unless they have to. Embracing uncertainty and managing risk. This is it. Being an entrepreneur, as I've already said, is uncertain. You do not know what is going to happen. So you have to manage the risk by building in safeguards. They can be financial, structural, process, to make sure that you can manage and work within a framework. I mean, the reality is that there's always going to be some level of uncertainty and risk involved. And you have to be able to embrace that and be comfortable with the unknown and be willing to take calculated risks. It's your company. It's a new product. It's never been out there in the market. There may be versions of it, but this is your version. This is what you believe is right, is the best product, is the best solution for the problem that you're solving. So you need to embrace uncertainty and manage the risk, and that's critical for building resilience. So you have contingency plans in place and do scenario plans. So if this happens, what are my options? And make sure that you write those out, plan for them, because planning will really help you when you face a problem. And then within the company, you need to foster a culture of resilience so that the team also know it's not just about you, but it's also about the people around you, your founders and the people within who work within the company. And that's by leading by example. You need to model resilience in your own behavior and your attitude. And that will build a culture of resilience, a supportive, collaborative work environment, open communication, providing opportunities, encouraging them. When you build the team, they have the skill set. But often when you recruit somebody, they think they have it, you think they have it, but what they actually need to do may not be exactly. So it's identifying the person that fits with your team so that they have the resilience and the willingness to have the company culture to seek the new skills, to go out and get the stuff. And a major one that Saeed, who you'll be hearing from in a moment, always says that we should do is celebrate the small wins. Even if you have a small win and stay positive, celebrating that can help you get through the tough times and be positive within the tough times. So to summarize, to build a successful startup is challenging and unpredictable. It requires a high level of resilience in order to weather the ups and downs of the entrepreneurial journey. It is important to develop strategies to build resilience in the face of adversity. One of the keys to building resilience is to understand the importance for startup success. Resilience allows entrepreneurs to bounce back from setbacks, stay focused on their goals, and maintain a positive attitude in the face of challenges. It's also important to identify common challenges faced by startup founders, such as financial uncertainty, market volatility, interpersonal conflicts. By recognizing these challenges, entrepreneurs can develop strategies for managing them and mitigating their impact on the business. Developing a growth mindset, learning from failure and bouncing back stronger, seeking mentorship and building a support network, managing stress and avoiding burnout, staying adaptable and open to change, and fostering a culture of resilience within the startup is essential for long-term success. In summary, building resilience is essential for success in the startup world. By understanding the importance of resilience, identifying common challenges, and developing a growth mindset, learning from failure, seeking mentorship, managing stress, staying adaptable, and fostering a culture of resilience, entrepreneurs can weather any storm and achieve their long-term goals. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Farag. It was so amazing and very insightful. And thank you so much for all the advice on how we can develop resilience. What should we do to stay resilient in our startup journey? Because this one is not an easy one, but you are just giving us some advice and that's really helpful. So thank you so much. And for our audience, if you have any question or would like to share your experience regarding what Farag told earlier, Just raise your virtual hands and come up. We would like to hear a question or your insight. Now, Fatima, I think you have something to ask. You have, or maybe we'll go to the next speaker. Fatima?
Yes, I totally agree with you, Fanaki. Well, I think we'll hear our next amazing speaker we have online, and after that, we'll open the floor for the questions together. I hope it's good. Fine. Well, next up, we have another amazing speaker. Well, saying about him, he is an Olympian for the year 1996. Wow, amazing. Saeed Baswedan, hi, who is someone who has significantly contributed to the UAE in the field of technology, business, leadership, and he is very well known for his unique background. I must add that he is an amazing business leader who has an experience of over 21 years. While to add on, Saeed is recognized for his practical approach to change management and he is skilled in steering businesses towards objectives. Well, he is a passionate leader who is known for his proficiency in hiring, coaching, training, and leading cross functional teams towards common goals. Well, I think we cannot describe his expertise in just few words, but in addition to working in a semi government and government organizations, an integral part of Saeed's professional story is his role as the founder of YHH Product Design Boutique, a company based in Dubai. And this venture focuses on aiding young startups with future oriented technology strategies. Sai Baswedan is a true pioneer and not only witnessing but also actively shaping the evolution of technology in this. The honor is ours, Saeed, and to have you in the panel. Looking forward to what you have to share.
Thank you, Fatima, for a wonderful introduction. And good evening to everyone. And I'm so happy to be part of this event this evening. Farah, well done. I mean, Farah and I have been going back to at least 20 years of as my little sister, and at the same time is a business partner as well. So for the past 22 to 23 years of my career, actually, all I've been doing is either building a new startups or doing a turnaround for a troubled companies. Starting from the government or semi-government to private entities that I started and exited in the past and until today. And what Farah says is a resilience. It's very, very, very important. And any startup, regardless where you have the right funding as in a government entity or semi-government entity, where you have the right resources that who are really working and helping you to grow that startup. But at the end of the day, is you're always going to have accountability for what you're delivering to the objective of the people who really fund the project or they have the vision for a change in the future. That accountability always comes with the stress. It comes with failures. It comes with the disappointment. However, is the number one step is to build a resilient culture, and anything that you do in life is having the right community, having the right people around you, and having the right support as well, and so on. So speaking on the technology side, on the technology, I always tell people is technology is always going to be enabler to the business. So business strategy is far more important to understand where do you go, what's your objective for the business, and then you use the technology as a key enabler to get you from point A to point B. If you start looking at technology, the roadmap, and so on, a lot of the tech today, if you think of it, is technology is abundant today. It's everywhere, and every open source technology is available right now. It's not like 15 or 20 or 30 years ago that you really have to go to a very specialized entities to build something for you. Technology is abundant today, it's available. The question is, do you have the right partners? Do you have the right partners to help you and support you to build your organization from the ground up? So when you take the approach of the technology is and how to really build a resilient tech, it comes back to first thing is what is my business? What is the objective of my business? and where do I go from there, and what are the new techs that we have today in the industry that it will get me from point A to point B. Sometimes you have hype of the tech. The hype is maybe a new technology that comes up, or a new thing that you heard about, or new trending that people follow, and so on. I always recommend do not really fall to those kind of traps and so on. Look at the bigger players. I mean, what do they do? And what do they develop? What technology are they using? And to what scale as well? Scaling is very important. If you're going to build a technology that it doesn't need to scale, then you can standardize it very quickly and use a smaller the projects that to deliver and get you to your first step of showing your project, the promoting your project, maybe gaining the market share of these projects. If you're looking for scale, then you start looking at what are the technologies that are available there in the market today that other people are using. That one you can leverage on the companies who can help you to build this tech. At the end of the day, is what direction you take or you go is you have to make sure that you have the right people with you, the right technology people who can guide you and get you to the direction that you want to go and so on. And that's all driven by, and that's always driven by the business, the strategy. So I might take a pause over here and see if anybody have any questions.
So I think you can go on with. Okay, Darius, do you have any question?
Yeah, I did have a quick question on what he had mentioned, and he mentioned having the right people for your business and the right supporters and partners. But so my question is, how do you identify who the right partners um, for your business are, and also if it is a product that has not been introduced, no one has done it. How do you identify if it's
So I will tell you about maybe how we can, I mean, for example, the platform Arabi. I come from a very strong tech background, so I know exactly what I need to build, what I need to support, what I need to do for the next 3 to 5 years. My wife, who is the founder of the company, she's really strong on the strategy, on the business aspect of where we think we can go. The gap that we had is, do we have a person who specializes in the Arabic language and be able to put the content, the right side of the content to be able to target the young children that we are looking actually of providing this service. So that was basically the hunt of finding that right person for that specific job, for that specific skill set. The next part is when it comes to who is the person can help us to grow the business, who really can connect with people and can communicate the message and so on. That was obviously Farah, is the outspoken person in our whole team. So at any given place you go, when you leave the room, Farah will probably have like 10 or 15 other new friends or contact point that one we can help or they can help us as well. So when I said picking the right team, the right people, is really going back to your business, the core of the business itself, and then understanding is who is the right person to do certain thing in that business. When you start thinking about, I have a pioneering idea, it's never been implemented, it's never been done, then I go back to that. A lot of people have the fear of, if I give the idea, people will do it. And I always said ideas are open source. Every day you open YouTube, you'll see people have ideas and so on. Only very few people who have the right mindset to go and try it and build it and do something with it, right? So ideas are same thing as open source, but the people who are really resilient and have the strength to go and really push and start something are very few. So my advice is to talk to people that in your trusted network, and share the idea. I mean, whether you sign an NDA or not NDA, but you will get the right guidance and so on of how to introduce this pioneering product. And sometimes you will have ideas that you will have the people says, "Oh, I want to do this with you." This is something happened to me last week actually when our founders and the company members we won the award for the Future 100. We met one of the entrepreneurs there, and his idea was, like what happened in Ukraine, and basically in Ukraine, Russia basically bombed a lot of the data centers. They lost a lot of their data, their hospital records, their land records, and so on and so on. So it was basically a targeted attack. So
Mhm.
what he's thinking is, how can we create something and put it in space? I mean, UAE right now we are pioneering in the space industry, and so he's like, I want to put something in the space. My background in satellites, and Farah had introduced me to the gentleman, and I was like, yeah, you can do that, but you have to do 1, 2, 3, 4. And so we
Mhm.
connected, and now we're talking about how we can basically collaborate. Otherwise, I would never even know about this person, right? Because he spoke about
Mhm.
his project, he spoke about his passion, he spoke about his idea. It was a synergy there. As Farah says, hey, I know a guy who worked in satellite industry before. Why don't you talk to him? So that's how the connections works. Our advice is always find the trusted people that they will complement your business, and maybe they will help you and guide you. Don't be shy.
Wow, that's so excellent. Thank you so much, Saeed. That helped a lot. You answered both the questions. The other one was how to you introduce it without the fear of someone, copying. But thank you so much. Very positive.
Yeah, the copying actually, it's the issue with the copying is people will copy. I mean, Farah, maybe you want to jump in and maybe you can talk about our intellectual property with the company in Turkey, for example.
People will copy, and when people say that nobody hasn't, my idea is unique, nobody has ever had it. The number of times people have said that, and then we say, actually, but there's this, and
Mhm.
we've said it. People have said it to us, but it's not about the unique idea. It's about how you build that idea and the user experience and the customer experience. And to go back to copyright and intellectual property, under the Madrid Protocol, everybody's protected, and we had a company that copied our logo actually, and was teaching Arabic and similar structure. And we actually had to do a case on App Store and Google Play, which we won, and they were asked to remove their logo, and they had to rebrand and rename themselves because they called themselves Arabi, and they had a B as the logo on the App Store. So you can't have two Arabis. And the one thing I would say is that we registered our trademark and our name in the different jurisdictions. We would have done it just in EU, but unfortunately, because of Brexit, we then had to do UK as well. So that was a bit more money, but it was definitely worth doing. And the one thing I would say is, right now, UAE is outside the Madrid Protocol, so register it in one of the EU companies, because then your filing protects you globally as long as you're signed up. UAE is signed up, but I think the paperwork is going through, and it should happen either next year. I think it's happening. I think it's actually going to be, because it takes a number of years for the process to be approved. So if you're going to do it in the next 6 months, then register in EU, because then it means you're covered in all of the jurisdictions.
Perfect. Great. Thank you so much. I'm excited. Thank you.
Yeah, and as you know, it's very hard to trademark ideas. I mean, ideas are not like a trademark, but what you can do is, if there is any specific direction, specific process, all of those actually are trademark. You can actually get IP for it, but you'll have to spend money to protect that.
Okay. Great.
Right.
Very all
So,
positive.
and the other thing on technology, when you start thinking about who can copy my ideas and so on, I think if you look at an example of Elon Musk today, he took the entire blueprint of Tesla and the code, and he put it in public.
Mhm.
And the reason he put it in public, he says, I really want the autonomous vehicles, electric vehicle industry to really grow. So I don't mind people to take my code, to take my blueprint and go and implement it and maybe make it better. But he says, because today the technology is, like I said, it's abundant, but what you do is you're racing with the development. So Elon Musk, although he put the code for everybody to look and build and use, he's already like 5 steps ahead of everyone. He might be released version 1, but he's already at version 5. He might release version 2, he's already at version 8, and so on. So as long as you are ahead of the curve in tech, that you have the money to spend to be ahead of curve, he didn't mind actually for everyone to have that code and build, and people use it. And you see now the results is you have more electric cars, you have more the sensors and so on, to a point that he says it's okay for people to copy, it's okay for people to see what they have, as long as the ultimate goal for him is to have a better environmental cars and stuff and thing than what we have today.
Perfect. Yes, he had the advantage with that. Okay.
Exactly. So technology is always having that advantage. And to build a resilient the technology, it goes back to number one is understanding your business, understanding the core of your business. And then from there, you can move. So we'll give you an example of Arabi today. Arabi is we started purely, our business purely started in education. And we know we're not going to deviate from that. We know our content's always going to be there. But the way we architect the platform, the way we architect the solution is effectively is it's not only good enough to teach the Arabic language maybe for schools, but the platform is ready right now to be able to deploy math, English, science, or any other languages. We don't have the funding to do all the other languages, but today I can monetize the platform for other people to be able to use the platform and put different content and be able to teach other languages or other the subject. So that framework, it helps us to be resilient in tech and making sure that if you want to exit, then that's additional value for the organization and so on. So again, I go back. Technology is enabler, but understanding your business, understanding the strategy, where you go, it's far more important than just saying what tech I'm going to use, because the tech is abundant, it's available anywhere you can find and so on. So my two advice when you're thinking of technology resilience is finding the right CTO who will really be able to guide and understanding business. And number two is picking the right strategy for the business where it can help your business growth. At the same time is making sure the technology will always be just an enabler for you, that you should be able to be flexible, to switch and move around as well when the tech gets old. So there are a lot of initiatives right now. For example, looking at the banking industry. The banking industry, you have a Cobalt, for example, as a coding language. That language started from the early the 70s.
Mhm.
To
Can I
run a
ask you a
mainframe
question?
computers for the banking industry. So I'll leave you with that for now. And if you have additional questions, we'll be happy to answer and guide as well.
Thank you so much, Saeed. That was really great. Appreciate your background and your history. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Saeed. So, for sharing the insights that you got from your experience. Actually, they are valuable lessons, I must say. And I would like to raise a question. Well, as you both are startup people, well, I like my question is to both of you. Okay, I'll just address my question first. Well, I'd like to know the first crisis or the first failure that you faced when you started your startup, and what kind of strategies or mindset that you have found effective to reach to the level that you have reached today with the resilience that you have built up along with your journey. So, my question is to both Ferak and Saeed. So,
I'll let Farah start with that.
I would say the first one that we had was we created the program and we created it for native speakers. And when we went to schools, they turned around and said, we like it, but we're using the Ministry of Education curriculum for native speakers. We want from non native speakers. What are you going to do? And that was the first challenge that we had. So literally, you've built a strategy and a business. So we went away and said, okay. And then we literally pivoted. Hala, Lenka, and I went through, looked at the structure and the strategy and said, okay, we've had a mindset that this is what the problem is and this is what we're trying to fix. And the schools and the customers who are paying are telling us, no, that isn't what we want you to fix. That's nice to have, but the essential one is this. So we literally went away, restructured, came back, and gave them what they wanted.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Parag. Well, Saeed, would love to hear what you have.
Actually, for me, the setback, I think when we kind of built a mobile app and we're supposed to go live, and that's 2019, we said we're gonna do a pilot. We started with a small sample pilot and so on, and then of course, 2020, and I mean, I don't know, it's after that we started basically having the issue with the COVID. When really COVID hit, kind of everything changed for us, right? I mean, the technology that we build, we know it can scale, it can grow, we can have a lot of people on the platform, but the issue always was the schools did not have the funding right now. It was not budgeted and it was not mandated and so on. So talking to the founders and stuff and thing, they decided to donate a lot of seats to a lot of schools and not charge any money and stuff and things. So I think you might have a setback and you think, okay, we're not making revenue, not making money, we are spinning off more servers, we are providing more services, but it was important and the humane things to do to ensure that all of us will live in a community and we can share what the things that we have. We can share the thing that we have with everyone else in the community and be able to, to continuous basically provide the services. The result of that, although it was a downtime that we didn't earn a lot of revenue, but the result in a year or so later on, when the school had the funding, they were able to give us basically new contracts and stuff and things. So it worked out well at the end. But it was tough time for us as well. But as a business owner, it was important to make those decisions.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Well, I think this makes you both experienced people in startups, and it is really an honor to hear from you. Thank you so much for sharing those. Well, I'd like to ask a small question again. Well, what is your approach to crises now? Because you have reached a level of success in your startups and amazing. Well, I would like to know what kind of attitude or what a kind of approach you take now to crises. Well, again, sorry, my question
So
is to both of you. So,
yeah. So when it comes to technology, it's the way we operate. What Farah said is you need to celebrate the small wins and enjoy those wins. At the same time, is when you build a really good team, then what happens is the mindset actually it's always kind of it unify. So you might think it's a crisis, but at the end of the day, is anybody really dying? Are we killing anybody? And if it's a problem that you can solve, then there is no better way of starting thing to says, I'm sorry, and let me do something for you, and so on. So we do have occasionally things like that that comes out. But as a business owner, you're bound to make mistakes, or the technology is going to fail you, or the process will fail. But at the bottom line is we just said, sorry, we'd like to make it up for you, and we always make sure that we make our customers happy. I mean, at the forefront.
Yeah, I'll just add to that. The customer focused strategy and the way we deal with it now, I'll be honest, is the thing that comes into my mind is this too shall pass. In the beginning, it's like I said, you're so involved and everything is big, big, big. Now we're at the stage where, okay, it's okay. Something will happen and you sleep on it and it isn't you by putting it into your mind that it's not that big an issue, you actually, for your mental health, is really important. And it will also help you to deal with it. Because if in your mind it's a big, big issue and it's out of proportion, when you put it in context of the global context of the global situation, or even in your life context, nobody's died, nobody's starving, nobody's not going to have a good life tomorrow because of this issue. Then you work on solving it. And Saeed's 100% correct. Now, I mean, I'm honestly, if you'd have seen me now, I wish I knew now 6 years ago, because I sit there and think, oh my God, it would have been so much easier. But then that's what comes with experience, and that's what comes with life, and that's what comes with learning. And that's why we like, as Saeed said, sharing our knowledge. I do a lot of mentoring, so does Saeed, and sharing what we know and what we've learned, because it's amazing the conversations that I've had with people, and I think, okay, that will help me. And then I say that same thing or share it or tweak it a bit and with somebody else, because we're in the world, we're all interconnected. If COVID has taught us nothing, it's taught us that we are one world, one community, and we only have one life.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Really, it was words of wisdom you both shared.
So maybe to
Yes.
add a little bit of kind of an example of you would imagine it's going to be a crisis, right? We're receiving a phone call from a teacher panicking that she's going to lose her job because in one of our content there is a kid in the birthday singing and there is a rainbow, and there is a rainbow basically, and we had that for like the last 3 or 4 years. So her school decided, because they had an English curricula or something, that they put inappropriate content and they were fined, and now she thinks the Arabic program, she will be fired because of that. So, so immediately when we looked at it, okay, we went and counted, okay, there is 3 or 4 pictures of rainbow. We reached out to the Ministry of Education and they wrote it to us very clearly. It says, no, as long as you have the natural color of the rainbow, the 7 colors, you don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry about anything. However, we took a decision that we're gonna go and change that colors and stuff and things, and making sure it's resilient, and making sure it's resilient and stuff and things and so on. And that's it. So we made the change and everything went smooth. The teacher didn't have to be fired. And we went back to the school and they brought the content back and they told us, please stop everything. So we stopped everything. After a few days, we went back and everything was fine and so on. So this is one example of we've taken an action of how we really dealt with these actions and so on. All right. So another example, if you think of this, is we had a school. They told us like they have deleted all the teachers cannot have access, and it was basically content was deleted. After investigation, looking at the logs and so on, so we realized it was one of the teachers. The content was she went and delete the content, not intentionally, but she deleted the content. And the worst part is the head of the school and that was his wife. So how do we write a letter to tell them how to write a report and letter to tell them that your wife deleted this and it's not our fault? So that's another crisis. So we went back and says, hey, this is the problem. This is the technical issue of it. This is how it's solved. But let's make sure that first all your teachers are online and they're able to teach. And because we don't delete the accounts usually, we make sure that the accounts are safe, and we have to go back and then delete it manually if we have to delete because people make mistakes. So these are the kind of the crisis you might this the crisis you might imagine, but the reality is they're not life or death, but it makes uncomfortable decisions. And it puts you in a place that you think that you made the biggest mistake, you're losing a customer. But once you talk to them, you explain to them, and you have a human to human communication, it becomes easier.
Yes, amazing. Well, I think it takes a lot of experience to hold on to that resilience, and it is what you have shared, the experience, the whole experience you had over these years with your startups led to what you are today, and amazing. And one thing, Ferak and Said, you do is amazing is mentoring other people with what with all the experience that you have gained from your startup journey, and it is an amazing thing to do, sharing what you got, sharing the knowledge you got. Wow, amazing. Well, I think we will open the floor for more questions, and we have Hazim who is waiting in our panel for some time to ask his question. Well, back to you, Hazim. Would you like to share your question?
Surely. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity. And it seems today's session is really one of the very important. Like it's a very. I'm just be hearing like a layman perspective, and just want to know and we do see especially let's take UAE as an example. The UAE market is really vibrant and dynamic in the case of new businesses are coming up here in the market daily. So, in that perspective, as a person who is getting to a business for the first time, and he does not know the market very well, and what are things. I mean, as I said, like when we talk about resilience, we also need to take care, or we also need to handle it properly. The sound knowledge about the market, and also should have a better understanding about the our business and the marketing strategy and everything. So, if I ask you, what are the things that comes in mind when you go for when you going ahead to start up a project, like here in the market, what are the things that you like, if you have a list of things handy with you, so what are things that you can enlist your things to be taken into consideration, is my question to both of you.
So from my side, actually, if you think of UAE, to start a business in UAE is very expensive, and that's because one, we don't have taxes right in the country, so you always pay these government services. I'll give you an example. If you want to get a license, to open a license, for example, to do e-commerce business or something, they will tell you you need an office. To get an office, you gotta have a lease for 1 year. To get a lease, you gotta have. So it just adds up. The cost of building a startup over here, it's really really high. I always recommend is to really understand what business are you in, what sector of your business, and then number two, look for business centers that one can give you that license for basically a hot desk or something like that, that you don't need to spend money, and you can spend money on building the products that you're spending money on the office that you're never gonna sit and use, and so on. The number two is, if your business doesn't require a license yet, I would recommend is to build something small and test the market. And if you think the market is working well for you, I mean, you can register it in Delaware, USA, which is will cost you like $200. And if you think the business is working, then you can establish an entity in the UAE, and then you basically build it from there. So spend less on the administration work and spend most of your funding or your resources on building the product or building the business itself.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saad. It's really insightful.
Mine is always know your customer, know what they want, and know and listen to them, and be transparent and honest, which also relates to how you deal with a crisis. Everybody makes mistakes. And even on the global stage, politicians, if they would just put their hands up and say, okay, I made a mistake, I'm sorry, this is what I'm doing to fix it, people will accept that. But when you run away and hide and don't answer, that's what people don't like.
Surely, thank you. And I do have one more question, if the time allows, allocates. Like the question is like we also need to consider the market. I mean, the big companies are, I mean, in the same or the similar industry or domain. They're also, like become a high competitive, and if the person who wants to start up a business in the SME sector would be threatened, by themselves. So how do we manage this aspect, like by threatened by the big companies here in the.
Farah, you want to take that?
Can you? I don't quite understand what you're asking me. The question.
Oh, okay. So I'll just repeat it again. So I'll just be saying that the big companies are there in the market. And when you start up a business in the similar field, let's say in education sector, so you
Yep.
do have big companies here in the market. They have entrusted to all the experts, the 360-degree operations, and everywhere. So in that case, if you want to start up your business in the same line, so how do you make sure that you do have your USP? How do you use your USP uniquely, that is being different from the big competitors there in the market?
The first question you need to answer yourself is if that company is already in the market, is already successful, and is already covering everything, why do they need you? What is your purpose? Before you go into USP or you need to go back to the problem that that company is fixing, or the service or solution that they are providing. Before you even go to, if it's already been covered and it's already being fixed by a company in the market that is a big company, then what is your raison d'être, your reason to be? I will give you the example of our company. There's another company in the market that's been there and creating resources since 2004. We came in 2017 precisely because even though that product is there, it wasn't solving the problem. Children were still not learning Arabic. They were still not enjoying learning Arabic, and they still didn't have a progressive, interactive curriculum with and so then we created our content, our program, our company to do it differently. If you are looking for a USP, that will be your USP. But first, to identify the USP, your USP will be your raison d'être if you're doing something differently from a company that's already in the market. So the first thing you need is to step back and say, if they're doing this, this, and this, what is my purpose? Why am I going to create this company if this problem is already being fixed by this company? And if they see you, and go a step further, if you do have the resources and the money to open the company and create the company, and this big conglomerate is there, they will see what you're doing, and they will probably either replicate it, copy it, and then you will disappear because they have the money and resources to do it. Does that make sense?
Yes, of course. Thank you very much, Ms. Farah. It's much
and does that answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to.
Yeah, please.
Yes, sir. Yes.
No, actually, to second Farah on that, is a lot of the time is, I mean, we build a product this year for a specific task in school. So if you look at the bigger companies, they might have the market share, they might have, but a lot of people today, they have issues, but they won't tell you, the customer will not tell you unless you really go sit down and try to understand. So, for example, we have I mean, I'm assuming everyone probably on, if you have a kid or niece or nephew or, who goes to school, and if you apply for schools in the UAE, is all that work is manual. Although you apply you put the application like on digital platform and the website, but the moment you press send, all the document, whatever your attachment, it goes as an email. 2 hours, 3 hours of going through these emails, downloading every file, printing the files, create a folder, and then get all the files, making sure the file is complete. And then if it's not complete, go back to that email of the person, try to remember the email of the person. So the process is really long. And administration, they get 200-300 applications almost every year, and some schools are more. So we build a platform just to solve that problem. We digitize everything. We making sure that the application process are clean. The collection of payment is done online for at least the application fee. Once the application fee is collected, we send a message to the accounting. The accounting gives the approval. So we digitize that process. We did not take the guys who have the entire solution where half-baked is not working fully and you still got to do manual work. We found one thing out of that system that we can make it better, we can improve, and we did that only. So that again, it goes back to really understanding what your customer needs and what your customer wants, and so on, and then build a solution that will complement that. You forget about the big companies. The big companies, they get funding, or they've been there when the market was really small, and they grow the market, but they are very hard to change. They don't build fast, they don't innovate fast. So find the gap and basically tackle those issues from there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Said, for the explanation.
One example, one perspective I would like to put is the Kareem Uber acquisition. So Kareem was a full copy of Uber when Uber was fully matured. But Uber acquires them for a whopping 11 billion dirham. It's a good read. Since we have two more speakers, I'm not going into details of that. So the basic thing is that there's an idea. There's always a customer segment. So now the thing is that how you're going to work on it, how you're going to scale on it. And I do remember like we were the finalist, like semi-finalist in the Smart Up, and got a chance to see one of the founders of Kareem, and they told start small. That is, they told they just had a basic web page and they just started it. It's a good story to read on. So going back to the moderator.
I can see that we have really a very interesting conversation today and a very active listener. And I think it's because of the theme of the topic, but at the same time, we have amazing speaker. So thank you for sharing your wisdom with us today. And let's move on to the next question, Ranjita Bro. I would like to ask anyone to just have 2 minutes to ask question or share insight because our time doesn't allow it. So thank you. Next, Ranjita Bro, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Fanaiki, for having me on, and to everyone in the team, Kabir and the rest of the team. Thank you, Saeed and Farag, for speaking. I'd like to ask two quick questions. The first is, how do you get out of your own head in order to listen to people and spot opportunities? That's one question. And the second question is, how do you select people to join you on your venture? What criteria do you use to select your partners, employees, and everyone who's working with you? Thank you.
Shall I start, Saeed?
Yes, Farah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, all I can say is Saeed and Lenka picked me. To go selecting people, you need to get the right person to fit with your culture, your organization, and who shares the same vision and mindset. It doesn't necessarily have to be your best friend, but it needs to be someone that you can be honest and open with, because there will be conflicts along the way. And the founder, the people that you work with are people. It's like having a second family, like another wife or another husband, because you're with these people, you're living, breathing, and building something that all of you passionately believe in. I mean, we did have a person that we employed for our social media, but within 3 weeks, we knew that she wasn't going to work. And we had to let her go. And we explained to her that the content, the way she was doing things didn't fit what we wanted with our brand. So you also need to take those difficult decisions and take them early on, but also don't be afraid, because it would have been better than letting it continue, because it's hard. It's a hard decision, but it was the right decision, because then we went on to get somebody who did fit what we wanted and did fit our brand. And with regard to the first part of your question, how do you make those connections? From a person who, as Saeed has said, is very good at it, listen. People talk, but listen. Don't just hear them, actually listen to what they're saying. Because often what they're saying isn't what you're hearing, if that makes sense. And I can do that's a whole different topic. Saeed?
Yes, Farah. Actually, I mean, how to get off out of your head is just accept that there are always other people who are better than you out there, and they'll have a wisdom. Sometimes you can learn from a child a simple task that probably they will do it better than you without even thinking. So I'll give you an example of I mean we have three children, right? I mean 19-year-old, a 17 and 13-year-old. The 13-year-old, she cracked the formula. The formula is, if you can do things and get them done properly, but you don't stress yourself, then it's fine. What I mean about properly is, I have a homework. I've done the homework. It's acceptable to the teacher. And can I do it better? Can I spend more time to make it perfect? It says, yes, I can, but it's acceptable. So why do I stress about it, right? So now we are like at 46 years old, you keep thinking maybe our daughter got it right. We keep stressing about getting it perfect, getting it this. Why we're stressing our children for something that she has the formula. She's doing okay in school. She gets the right grades, and she's happy about it. You know why we stress her to make sure that we push her so hard. So this is how basically you'll be able to start learning from other people. because we tend to think that I'm an expert, I have X number of years, I understand my domain, my field, but people will give you the right advice. Always keep your ears open and listen, and so on. How to attract the right talent, maybe to join your team? It's a vision. I mean, I worked with one of the leaders in Abu Dhabi, and number one thing that he did as a startup was given a mandate to basically to do XYZ. I cannot talk so much about it because most of the project I worked was classified, but his number one vision was like hire people who are better than you. He didn't care about their attitude. He didn't care about, because his mission was, I need to accomplish one or two things. So he hired the best people in the world, and he did not care about their attitude or something like that, because that was his mission. But if you're doing a startup, then at least you gotta hire the one or two critical people that it will make your business alive, and it will get you from stage A to stage B to stage C and so on. So those my only advice. And people buy into the vision. They don't buy in. A lot of time people buy into the vision and not only the money aspect of it.
Thanks, both of you. That was a great.
Hi, Fatima.
All right, I think she had some glitch, so I will just continue. We have another person, one more person in the panel, Vikram Podar. We'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, hi, Nike. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
I think, I mean, we're talking about resilience in startups. So I think the resilience is also shown in the fact that I believe we're almost close to the 100 HPE sessions. So I think that's the best representation of the room itself. I don't think, any other thing would. It's just that that's pretty much it, right? Okay, I mean, we're not just running a session which we're not delivering on. I think that's right here. And I think that's the same with any startup as well. So, for example, my company, Boardroom Comedy, specializes in corporate comedy. And one of the biggest challenges that we face is that I've worked with a whole bunch of people over the years. So, I've had comedians, I've had other content writers. And one thing that we have to keep resilience in is to preserve your intellectual property as a media company. And you will often get offers that, for example, I'd written a corporate comedy web series and I was pitching it to some people. A lot of people tried to get me to hand over their IP and promise me some money, but I knew that I give this away today for a short term. I'm giving away something that in the future will be worth much more. I mean, so people have read that Rocky's, how Sylvester Stallone did not give up the script till he would be incorporated in it. So sometimes there are moments where you have to hold. Somebody might offer you a great opportunity, but you have to see through what they're really offering and what they're taking. And I think both having the right kind of judgment and also the emotional, maturity to either take that offer or reject it. I think that's what really creates resilience. That you hold down where it's needed and you let go where it's needed. I think that is true resilience rather than swinging rigidly on either side. I think that's the best that I could share on the topic. Thanks.
Thank you for sharing.
Right. All right. Thank you so much, Vikram, for sharing your insight. And well, I think if we don't have any more question, we can move on to the party notes. We can start with directly our speaker. We will start with Farag. What part note would you like to share with us today?
Just resilience. Just don't let life overcome you.
Wow, that's really powerful. Only one sentence. Don't let life overcome you. And you taught us, you gave us some advice on how can we be more resilient, because yes, life is sometimes somehow challenging, especially for startup. We just start, we have ideas, we know how to do it, we have right people, but yes, challenges may happen between customers, between a lot of things, and you just taught us, show us some tips on how we can overcome all of that and succeed. So thank you so much. We can have party notes from Said Baswidan now. Your party notes, Said.
My message is this also should pass. So it's nothing really big in this life that you cannot solve. It requires a little bit of time, a little bit of patience, and a little bit of people around you. This platform is a community, so reach out to the people you meet in this platform, and I promise you, there's always be at least one person will willing to help and guide as well, and so on. So don't be shy, build a community, and leverage the community to help as well, because a startup is a very lonely life, and it's very hard to do it alone. So you need the community, you need the people, and to help you at every stage of the startup until you grow.
Also, can I just say one last thing? If you haven't registered for Arabi, please download the app and follow us on social media at Arabi Learning. See, I had to do a plug for the company. Forgot my marketing role.
No
Farah,
worries.
do in the comment section, please do post the URL also of.
All right, yes, thank you. And as Kabir said, can you please share with us the link so that everyone can just jump in and follow you and maybe subscribe to learn Arabic? It's really interesting actually. And yes, we always used to take life too much seriously. And for me, for example, it really helps me right now. Thank you for the advice because yes, for sometimes we forget that everything is manageable. We shouldn't just get too much overwhelmed about everything that's happening right now. Just enjoy the journey. So thank you so much both for both of you because it was really amazing. You are really a real life example. You live it, you experienced it, and you are now sharing your wisdom, the wisdom you get from what you're living, and that's really amazing. Rare people is doing that, and so our gratitude goes to both of you. Now I would like to hear from Fatima. How do you think about the conversation today, Fatima, and your party notes? You can go on. Fatima, I think she has another glitch again. Maybe before she come back, we can have
I think
Kabir.
yeah, Fatima doesn't come. We are 12 minutes late. Fatima, if you can hear us, okay. If she comes, she can do the parting notes. Fanaki, you finished your
Yes,
parting
I
notes, right?
finished. Thank you.
Okay. Fanaki Handria, you also finished your parting notes, right?
Yes, I finished. And yes, just something I would like to say thank you to all of the amazing audience we have. And thank you to all the people who came up to ask and share their insight because you just add some more depth into the topic. And now I think Fatima is back. Fatima, your party notes, please.
Yes, thank you so much. Apologies for the glitch happened. And well, one thing our speakers shared is that being an entrepreneur is uncertain, and that is something accurate. And both of our speakers shared a lot of wisdom from years of experience they have gained, and it was amazing to share this panel with you all. And I would like to thank everybody who tuned in and everybody who raised a question which added on our information, and thank you for that. And I think that is the importance of resilience in startup is hence proved that it is such an important quality to hold on if you are looking for startups. And I think you should connect to Saeed as well as Farak for any kind of guidance if you are a startup person. And thank you so much for this opportunity, Kabir sir and Fanaki. I think we did a great job, right? Yeah, well, thank you so much, everybody, once.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you, Fatima. Thank you. And a very great thanks to like from the startup community, Farak and Saeed, for being here today. Uh, giving your words of wisdom. And this is one of the topics every startup needs to have. And you'll have the recordings, every listeners. You'll get the recordings soon, since we are again 15 minutes late. But I would like to thank all the listeners who came up and spoke. Vikram Podar, Beatrice, Ranjit, and I would like to thank all the listeners down there: Sugma, Rahmat, Muhammad Akil, Alicia, VH, Mariam, and Ashraf. And as we always tell, dream big, aim high, start small. Start very small so that you can easily focus on what you're doing. Start very small so that you can easily build a discipline around what you're doing. Start very small so that you can easily master what you're doing. Once you do these three things, you are ready to be a scalable startup, and thus starts your journey of a high performance entrepreneur. We are here as a community to support you. So if you haven't subscribed to Chuma Work, please do subscribe to the pages. We meet weekly in Kisai's Pond Park. And apart from that, we have 3 sessions daily, conducted by, headed by Fanak Handria, 5 a.m. UAE time, 5 a.m. Indian time, and 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Eastern Standard Time is co-hosted by Beatrice James, and that is about 10 minutes of mindfulness or silence and meditation, and 20 minutes of habit building or your task scheduling. Saying this, a dreamer from this part of the world with lots of love, signing off PC Kabir. In the count of 3, we are closing the room. Thanks a lot once again, and every speakers can tell bye bye. 3, 2, 1.